I want to try a little experiment with you. So you're all getting a little lottery form, and what I want you to do, you even get a pencil which you get to take home. I want you to choose 6 numbers from the numbers from 1 to 49. And anyone who's actually watching online, you can also play this. You could download the little lottery form, or even just choose randomly 6 numbers from 1 to 49. If you're actually watching this in the future on YouTube and Vimeo, pause now and choose those numbers. And then we're going to run a little lottery. And we're going to see whether we can create a little miracle. Now, I don't want you cheating. We're going to have balls coming out of this box here. I don't want you circling them as they come out, so look over and make sure the person next to you has actually chosen their numbers. And there will be a prize if you get all 6 numbers right. I call this the Number Mysteries Lottery. So there's a copy of my previous book, the Number Mysteries, for anyone who actually gets 6 numbers right. Okay? But no cheating. Are you ready? Good. Okay. So in order to make this fair, I'm going to get you to choose the lottery ball. So I haven't got a wonderful tombola or anything like this. I've got my makeshift box covered in gold wrapping paper. So I'm going to come down and get you to pick some numbers for me. So here's the lottery form. Okay. So if you'd like to go first. Which number have we got? You're allowed to tell us. Number 1. Wow. Here we go. What's the chances of that, eh? The first number is number 1. Oh. Okay. Number 48. So let's stick that one at the end. Okay. Anyone getting excited? Oh, I'm going to get a copy of that book. Oh, yeah, really. Well, if you do win, I wouldn't waste it on this one. I'd, play tonight and win a lot. But number 20 is the third ball out. So. Okay. And number 37. Nice prime number. We've got 2 more balls to come. What have we got? 17. 17. Oh, that's my favorite number. That's the number I play for in my football team. Another prime number. Number 2. And number 2. There we go. Right, so let's put these on the top here. So I didn't hear any whoops, actually. That's very disappointing. Oh, well, yeah, there we go. A whoop. But I was hoping maybe for a miracle. Maybe somebody had got all 6 numbers right. Now, I'm going to make some predictions, actually, about the numbers that I think you got. So it's kind of like Saturday afternoon. It's quite tiring, and there's a mathematician, and we're doing double maths, and it's like, oh, my God. So what I want you to do is to all stand up, please. Great. And I want you to wave your lottery tickets. Get some energy going around. You've been here since 10 o'clock this morning. That's fantastic. Let me just get that on. I think we should tweet that, don't you think? Oh, it's beautiful. What a lovely story. Okay, you're all feeling energized now. Okay, I'm going to make some predictions. No, don't sit down yet. Gosh. Oh, this is so tiring, this maths lock. I predict that half of you didn't get any numbers right at all. So I want you to sit down if you've got no numbers right at all. Okay, let's see how good kind of our probability. That's pretty good, actually. I think half of you are about standing. Right? Okay, so I think that maybe there are about, 160 people here? I think maybe 20 of you got 2 or more numbers right. So I want you to sit down if you only got 1 number right, and stay standing if actually you got 2 numbers right. I think about 20 of you should be standing. So let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Ooh, you're quite lucky here today. Ooh. Okay, so let's see. I think maybe only about 3 of you are going to be standing that got 3 or more numbers right. So sit down if you only got 2 numbers right. Here we go. Here are 1, 2, 3, 4. Not bad. Okay. So have we got a miracle? Because I think that it's very unlikely that any of you would have got 4 numbers right. So keep standing if you actually got 4 numbers right. Oh, that's a shame. I was hoping this was, it's a miracle marathon. Maybe somebody was going to get, a little bit further. So, 1,000. So there might be, hopefully we've got more than 1,000 watching online. So I want anyone who's got 4 or more numbers not right, actually to tweet through and say, yes, I've got, and tell me which the 4 numbers you got right. Okay, what about 5 numbers? Well, we know you haven't got here, but is there anybody out there who's actually watching online and might have got 5 numbers right? Well, there's a 1 in 55 million chance, so we'd need, maybe you're the Serpentine Marathon. Next year, we'll have 55,000 of you here. And to have got all 6 numbers right, and that truly would be remarkable, we need about 14 million people playing the game. So it's interesting, you see, what would have happened if somebody had actually been standing and got all 6 numbers right? What would your reaction be to that? You would think so? Or had they cheated? I think that's the tension, you see. It's the tension. If somebody was standing and said, oh, I've got all 6 numbers, and they didn't whoop, I would have whooped. Wow, I've got all 6 numbers. There was no whooping. If somebody was still standing, it was either fairly miraculous, because with this number you wouldn't expect it. But let me give you a sense. You see, I think one of the reasons that we have difficulty with the kind of ideas of things, it's possible. That's the point. That's why it's so exciting. It is possible that you could have got all 6 numbers right. It's not really a miracle if somebody had genuinely got all 6 numbers right. But I think it's our sense of our difficulty with large numbers, large expanses of time, that we find it very difficult to navigate that as humans, because we have very small kind of interactions. So suppose you bought a lottery ticket every week. Maybe we do, if we're in the 11th marathon, if we kept on doing this every year, maybe we'd actually get a miracle. How long would it take? Well, if you think every week you might have got 3 numbers right within a year. Well, it takes you 20 years to have got 4 numbers right, buying 1 a week. And what about 5 numbers right? Well, I think if William the Conqueror, if the first thing he'd done was to start buying lottery tickets week after week, he might have by now won once, got 5 numbers right. And to get 6 numbers right? Well, I did the calculation, and it turns out the first thought, the first Homo sapien ever had was, I must go buy a lottery ticket. And went and bought lottery tickets once a week from that first thought, then he or she might have got 6 numbers right once in that whole expanse of time. So I think that's one of the problems. We don't have a sense of large numbers. But actually, what about this? Because in the 9th week of the national lottery, when it started to run, you see, every week 1 person wins, 2 people win, because, 14 million people are playing the lottery. But something weird happened in the 9th week of the national lottery, because that week, 133 people got all 6 numbers right. So what was happening there? Was it members, employees of the national lottery playing, and they got some sort of secret information? Was there cheating going on here? Was this actually a miracle? 133 people, rubbish week to win. Because, you think you become a millionaire if you're going to get 6 numbers right, and you phone up and you've got to share it with another 132 people. You think you're a millionaire, you only walk away with 100,000. So what happened that week? Again, this wasn't an example of a miracle. Actually, this is an example of the fact that people are very bad at behaving randomly. You leave patterns wherever you go. So if you actually look at the lottery ticket winnings that week, they were nicely spaced out across the lottery form. And that's what people tend to do. They space things nicely. Oh, I'm missing a bit there, put something there. So I want to ask you a question. I want you to stand up if you put 2 consecutive numbers down. Did you choose 17 and 18 or 22 and 23? Stand up if you chose 2 consecutive numbers. This reveals how unrandomly you are playing, because actually, if you were genuinely behaving randomly, half of you should be standing, because half of the numbers that could come out of this box have 2 consecutive numbers. Look at the previous week. It had 21 and 22. You're not allowed to sit down, sir. I'm going to ask another question. The following week, it was 30 and 31. And what did we have? We had 1 and 2. So half the time, the numbers will have consecutive numbers. Okay, so here's your next question. How many of you chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Sit down if you didn't choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But keep standing if anyone. Did you choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
1, 2, 5, 7.
Of 1, 2, 5, 7. Yeah, that's not 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That's quite nice numbers, yeah, but you can sit down. Oh, want it to be a miracle. The point is, actually, you see, why did you not choose that? Because that's that's never going to come out of this box, is it? 1, 2, I mean, it's quite amazing. 1, 2 started to come out, but actually, of course, it's as likely as any of your other choices. But you would go, wow, that's amazing if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 came out. But actually, this is a way to. I can't help you to win the lottery. I would love to. Why don't we all buy a lottery ticket tonight? Come to Second Home tomorrow and see if anybody actually won some money. How about that? Is that a deal? Okay, maybe we'd all choose these numbers. No, that would be rubbish. Then we'd have to share it if we all got it right. But here's a way. What you want to do if you win, you want to walk away with as much money as possible. Okay, so the trick is you don't want to be in that week when you have to share it with 132 people. So what do? You go against the trend. You go against what people tend to do, which is to space their numbers out. So clump your numbers together. So actually put them together like 21 or 22, because look how few people chose consecutive numbers. Well, maybe the best thing is actually to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because nobody chose that, and you go away with everything. Well, actually, don't do that, because it turns out that 10,000 people a week in the UK choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which I think shows how clever the UK population is, that they know their probability. That's as likely as anything else, incredibly unlikely. So don't choose those ones. Maybe clump them towards the end, because people choose birthdays, and 49 and 48 aren't birthdays. So, okay, so we've seen that many people winning was kind of an example of people behaving unrandomly. But what about this? The winning numbers in the Bulgarian lottery on the 6th of September 2009 were 4, 15, 23, 24, two consecutive numbers, 35 and 42. Nothing extraordinary about that, except that 4 days later, on the 10th of September, the same 6 numbers came out. Now, I heard somebody go, ooh, that sounds a bit suspicious. That was in Bulgaria. Not that I'm saying anything about Bulgaria, but the Bulgarian government said, oh, come on, there's something going on here. This is something suspicious about the fact that it came, somebody's fixing the thing, they've put the tape through twice or something like that. So you would certainly find this suspicious. And if it isn't suspicious, it feels a bit miraculous that you get the same 6 numbers coming out 1 week after the other. But actually, when mathematicians started to analyze this, we discovered that if this hadn't happened, it would be stranger. Because we have been running so many lotteries over the decades across different places across the globe that by now, that clumping of numbers should have happened. We should have seen a lottery which produced the same numbers 1 week after another. So actually, again, it was our sense of lack of sense of scale that meant that we thought this was something weird or miraculous or corrupt, but actually it's what we would expect from having run so many lotteries in this time. Now, science, I think, has an interesting relationship with miracles, because miracles are meant to be things which go against the kind of scientific norm of the day. But actually, for me, those miracles are a real challenge. And I think there are some real challenges in science. The miracle of life. If you stick a load of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen together, a bit of nitrogen, you start zapping it with a load of lightning, what are the chances that out of that soup you're going to get DNA? It's incredibly unlikely. I mean, we've been doing experiments with it to actually create something which can replicate. But actually, if you analyze how long it would take, it's the chance of getting that to emerge is pretty rare. It's like throwing 36 dice and expecting them all to hit 6. Okay, if I took 36 dice and threw them now, we wouldn't get that. But the length of time we've been running this experiment is the same as the Bulgarian lottery. The idea is that by now, if that hadn't happened, we've been throwing dice for millions of years to get this soup to create something which will create life. So we've been running the experiment so many times, and our sense of scale of time is so bad that we think that's just so unlikely. But actually, by now, if we hadn't produced 36 sixes, it'd be unusual. But we've got a real challenge with science, a kind of miracle, because actually if you look at the universe has certain constants, like the speed of light, the mass of an electron, the mass of the proton, gravitational force. They seem so carefully tuned to be able to create atoms from which we can get life. You change one of these constants slightly, and things just don't get started. So how do we actually answer that question? That's one of the big challenges in science. Why are these constants so finely tuned? We seem to have only one universe, so was there only one roll of that dice? And actually, this is one reason that we're really like the idea of something called the multiverse. The multiverse, actually, we have an explanation for how it grows. What we don't want is a kind of designer tuning this whole thing such it was perfect. We want some explanation which explains this miracle. It is a miracle that everything is fine-tuned. But actually, you get an explanation if there are many universes all the way around our own universe, and in each one there's a kind of random throwing of the dice to see what the constants of nature are, the speed of light, the mass of an electron. Then if you run enough universes just with life and just with the Bulgarian lottery, in one of them, hopefully they're tuned such you do get life. And of course, we're in the one that actually everything rolled and we got 36 sixes. Thank you.